Welcome back to Horror Stories LCP, where shadows come alive and fear has no boundaries. Tonight, we take you into the heart of a chilling mystery, a place where light itself is no protection from the terror that lurks within. This is the darkness in the greenhouse. Imagine finding an abandoned greenhouse, untouched for decades. Plants thrive inside, but something else does too, something ancient, something sinister. What happens when the darkness grows stronger than the light? So in this spine-chilling story, a botanist discovers that not all life within the greenhouse is natural, and some of it is hungry. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to Horror Stories LCP for more terrifying tales of the unknown. And hit the bell icon to make sure you never miss a story, because you don't want to be left in the dark. Without wasting any more of your time, let's dive straight into the story. The darkness in the greenhouse. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the tale. The darkness in the greenhouse. Chapter 1. The mysterious invitation. Sarah Clark, a 35-year-old woman, received an unexpected invitation. A letter from a lawyer informed her that she had inherited an old house in the English countryside from a distant relative she had never known, Emily Hall, a reclusive woman who had died with no dazzling relatives. Sarah, feeling burnt out from her stressful job in London, saw this as an opportunity to escape the suffocating city life. The house, built in the 18th century, was nestled in a secluded forest. It had once been a summer retreat for Emily's family, but over the generations, it had fallen out of use. Sarah didn't believe in ghost stories or the supernatural, but something about the invitation felt off. A few days later, she left London and drove to the countryside, where she would uncover a chain of eerie events she could never have imagined. Chapter 2. The Greenhouse. When Sarah arrived, Briarwood House, the estate she had inherited, stood before her like a picture from an old painting, faded and decrepit. The stone walls were weathered, the windows were covered in cobwebs, and the wild garden seemed to swallow the house whole. But what caught her eye was the greenhouse in the back. It was enormous, nearly as large as the main house itself. Beneath the fogged, dirty glass, she could make out withered plants and strange flowers. It looked like it hadn't been tended to in decades. Despite her curiosity about the greenhouse, Sarah decided to explore the main house first. Everything inside was old, furniture blanketed in dust, with several rooms locked tight. She found an old photograph of Emily Hall, a woman with hollow eyes and a cold expression, standing in the greenhouse with a small child Sarah had never heard of. Chapter 3. Night Sounds. The first night, as everything settled into silence, Sarah began hearing strange noises. Faint whistling sounds seemed to come from the greenhouse, like the wind brushing against the glass, but also eerily like deep breathing, or whispers echoing from within. Yet she told herself she was just tired, that her mind was playing tricks on her, but the noises persisted. They grew louder each night. Around midnight, she could hear the faint sound of a child's laughter echoing in the distance. Sarah began to have strange dreams, always involving a child with long hair obscuring their face, standing behind the glass of the greenhouse. So whenever she approached the greenhouse during the day, she felt like something was watching her from within. But when she stepped inside, it was silent, with nothing but dead plants. Chapter 4. A Dark History. Determined to uncover the history of Briarwood House and the greenhouse, Sarah visited an elderly woman in the village, Martha, who had once worked for the Hall family. Martha recounted tales of Emily Hall, a woman who seemed perfect on the outside but was hiding something dark. According to Martha, Emily had lived alone in the house, but her deepest secret was the child in the greenhouse. Henry, Emily's son, was kept locked inside the greenhouse for the last years of her life. No one knew why, but there were rumors that the boy had some strange illness that made him unable to be exposed to sunlight. Some villagers even claimed Emily practiced strange rituals to protect her child from a curse that had haunted the family for generations. Strangely, Henry was never seen after Emily's death. One morning, Emily was found dead inside the greenhouse, but there was no trace of the boy. Chapter 5. The Horrifying Truth. Sarah decided to open the greenhouse doors one evening, realizing that the noises she heard only happened when she was outside. She believed that to uncover the truth about the house, she had to confront whatever was hiding in the greenhouse. So when she pushed open the rusty iron door, a foul odor wafted out. Inside, she found a small hidden room made of stone and glass with an old wooden bed. So on the bed, there were dried bloodstains and tiny footprints pressed into the dirt. She saw the faint outline of a child through the glass, but when she tried to touch it, the figure vanished, as if it had never been there. Sarah began to feel an invisible weight pressing down on her. The glass panes started to rattle, and the child's figure reappeared, this time with a clearer face. It was Henry, but his eyes were hollow, devoid of emotion, and strange sounds came from his mouth. Chapter 6: The Family Curse. After confronting the entity in the greenhouse, Sarah returned to Martha and demanded to know more about the curse Emily had tried to break. Martha revealed that the Hall family had been cursed for generations, a curse tied to the deaths of the children born into the family. So each time a child was born, they carried the mark of the curse, a force that prevented them from growing fully, keeping them trapped between life and death. Emily had tried to save Henry by locking him in the greenhouse, shielding him from sunlight and anything that might trigger the curse. But in the end, she had failed, and Henry had become a permanent fixture of the house. Chapter 7: The Final Choice. Sarah realized she had been pulled into the curse's web. The house wasn't just an inheritance, it was a trap that imprisoned the souls of cursed children. If she didn't escape, she too would become a part of it. Sarah decided she had to destroy the greenhouse, the place that held Henry's soul and whatever remnants of the curse remained. But as she prepared to set it on fire, Henry appeared one last time, crying and begging her not to do it. He was no longer the haunting entity, but a lonely child, stuck in a loop of pain and fear. Guilt and pity overwhelmed Sarah. She hesitated but ultimately decided to burn the greenhouse to free Henry's soul and end the Hall family suffering. Chapter 8: The Release. So the greenhouse burned, Henry's screams and cries echoed through the garden. Sarah collapsed, and everything around her blurred. When she woke up, the house and garden were completely silent. There were no more sounds of Henry, no traces of the curse. She decided to leave the house forever, knowing she had freed not only Henry but also herself. Briarwood House remained standing, but Sarah knew its dark history had finally come to an end. The end. So this story blends elements of psychological horror, supernatural tension, and the theme of generational curses, drawing inspiration from modern horror trends in both American and British storytelling. The eerie setting of an old estate with a mysterious greenhouse, the concept of a child trapped in limbo, and the protagonist's journey to uncover and break the curse align with contemporary horror's focus on atmosphere, psychological depth, and unresolved traumas. Thank you for listening to our chilling tale. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to Horror Stories LCP for more spine-tingling stories. And remember to click the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest horror episodes. Your support keeps the stories coming,